Hi everyone, it's Diary of a Mystic. Welcome to One Bad Tarot Reader Podcast 10, Podcast Diaz. Welcome back to those that like to listen to this podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's been a couple of months. I hope you've had a great start to your 2021, and we're now in the month of March. Yay! If you live where winter is prominent and you've survived, God bless you. We've been hit hard with winter weather. January and February was snowmageddon. But I'm back, I'm here, and I'm happy to be doing and fortunate enough to be doing another podcast for you. So, I want to go back to, and I was thinking about this the other day. I love stickers, and when I was a kid, I had a sticker album. If you collected stickers when you were a kid. So I was a kid growing up in the 80s, and stickers were like the thing. And so they sold sticker albums where you could literally put stickers in your sticker album and collect them. So I loved stickers. I'd have the scratch and sniff stickers, the bubble stickers, the Hello Kitty stickers, I remember I still have the sticker album, actually. It has a teddy bear ballerina on it. And I still have all the stickers that I collected when I was like 8, 9 years old in there. And there was a store in town that sold rolls of different stickers. So you'd like go in and you'd pay like 10 cents for a sticker, depending on the size. It would be cost per size or the style or whatnot. And I was thinking about how much I love stickers. I still love stickers. I've made Mystic Village stickers. If you've not ever had a Mystic Village sticker and you would like one, feel free to comment below and I will send you a Mystic Village sticker. I have a few of them left. So I love stickers. Anyway, I was thinking the other day about Brookie from the past and my magical journey. And when I was about, I guess I was like 21, 22, I had a bumper sticker on my car, which my first car was a 88 red Camaro that my dad bought me when I graduated high school my senior year. And I had the Camaro for like 7 years. So from like 18 to 25, it had T-tops that would come out that I would take out on either side and put in the back. I love that car. My friends loved that car. We had so much fun in that car. It sucked in rain and snow, but it was so much fun. So, Brookie from the past, 1990, 91, I had my red 88 Camaro. We would go cruising in the Camaro because that's what we did in our small town. Everybody went cruising. And we just had so much fun. So eventually, when I was like 21, 22, and I was on my magical journey, I had a bumper sticker that I put on the Camaro that said, "Magic happens." And everybody would be like, "Magic happens? What's that mean?" And I love that bumper sticker, "Magic happens." And so I was thinking about that the other day, that I've been like this for a long time. And I've never really been one to hide it. Uh, I've been, magic happens. I like things that are very whimsical. Of course, I've been a huge fan of Stevie Nicks since I was 7 years old. Even when Stevie Nicks was not cool, Back in the 80s, I was the only one in high school that wore a Stevie Nicks t-shirt that I ordered. Like 1989, I was wearing a Stevie Nicks t-shirt. I was the only one in high school wearing one because I loved her so much. And I didn't care. So I've been like this for a long time. So I was thinking about my magical journey. And during that time, I was toting around my red notebook, which was my magical book of shadows. And I was toting around my Silver Raven Wolf books. If you remember, Silver Raven Wolf was huge in the 90s with the resurgence of primarily Wicca, uh, and I loved her books. Everybody was like Silver Raven Wolf and Scott Cunningham and DJ Conway and all these authors um, that really resonated with the white girls. Really resonated with the white girls. It was white girl Wicca. So anyway, and I was looking for my magical tribe, and eventually along the way, I would meet other people who were primarily into Wicca or earth-based religions. And my journey at the same time, I was, of course, toting around my big purple bag with my red folder of my Book of Shadows and my tarot cards and my Magic Happens bumper sticker on my car, on my red '88 Camaro. And I look back at those days in my life, and I still have everything that I had that I used to carry around with me. I probably had a few crystals in that purple bag and whatnot. Uh, and I look back at the younger version of myself, and I'm so happy that 20 years, 25 years later, I'm still that girl that never left me. And it was genuinely who I am. It's authentically myself. And along the way, we kind of lose ourselves and stray from that path, whether it's religious, spiritual, metaphysical, however you want to apply it. My interest in different magical traditions have changed over the years. And I even broke away from doing tarot readings uh, throughout the course of my life. I wouldn't do readings at all for myself, for my friends. And of course, I wasn't reading professionally until I was uh, till I was about 41 years old. So if we would have had YouTube, or if we would have had the online access that we do now, there's no telling what I would have done in my 20s, perhaps. And I even think now, God, if I had a cell phone when I was 8, 9 years old, I probably would have created a YouTube channel of me dancing to um, the Pointer Sisters. I would have been on TikTok. So, anyway, I want to speak about how when we stray from any type of magical practice or even using divination, and then how it pulls us back in, because it's pulled me back in time after time after time. And the various ways and the various uses of divination, primarily through the use of the tarot cards, is something that has evolved with many people over time. And the tarot itself really had a resurgence or a rebirth in the earlier part of the 20th century, especially with Arthur Edward uh, Waite and his tarot deck that was artistically designed by Pamela Coleman Smith, who is now revered for her tarot depiction, her art, her symbolisms. her talent, her creativity. And because we now have such a plethora of different types of tarot decks, oracle decks have become very popular, and how tarot has changed and has gone into the mainstream more than we've ever seen it. And when we stray away from these things that bring us some type of peace, uh, if we stray away from things that bring us some type of connection to spirit, it's okay because we'll be pulled back in. So if I've strayed from a spiritual practice or path because my life was going into a different direction, or I became very busy, or even if I hit a brick wall or hit a plateau of some kind and just didn't feel like doing it anymore, I always came back to it. And so thinking about Brookie from the past with the 88 red Camaro and my Magic Happens bumper sticker, that Brookie still exists to this day. Now, I don't have a Camaro anymore. I have a mom car that I've had the same car for like 15 years, but I do have a Mystic Village sticker on the car. So, I still, nobody's ever asked me, what is Mystic Village, which is surprising. So, when we get back to the girl that we once were, or get back to the woman that we once were, get back to the person that we once were, whether it's through music, writing, art, spiritual tradition, spiritual practice, learning new techniques, learning new magical procedures or practices or traditions, learning different ways to read divination, diving into different ways of divination. It brings us back to ourselves, and it realigns ourselves with our spiritual purpose, which doesn't mean that it's bigger than what it is. It's just who you are and connecting with that. And you find that through divination, through magical practices, your intuition is strong. Your intuition is very strong. It's stronger. It strengthens because it's like a muscle. And so when you do it on the daily, or even if you do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, it's essentially like going to the gym. You're working it out. You're working that psychic, intuitive muscle. And the stronger it becomes, right? And the same thing with your spiritual practice, the stronger it becomes. And when I had that bumper sticker that read Magic Happens, it was sending it out to the universe that indeed magic does happen in many various ways, whether it's instant, whether it's sooner rather than later, whether it's on down the road, however you want to look at that. And sometimes your intuition can also not come in so clearly, especially if you're going through stresses in your life, or if you're in for instance, a bad relationship, or if your stresses with money, or stresses with the job, or stresses with the family, or if you're sick, or if you're not feeling great, your intuition gets blocked by other things. And it can also affect your abilities in terms of reading, it can affect your abilities in terms of magical practices, spell work, etc. And so I like to learn I like to listen to podcasts. I like to watch other YouTubers, and I like to learn from other people. Primarily, I like to subscribe to women who are teaching uh, because women have a tendency to see things or to grasp or hold on to things or speak about things that men don't recognize. And I'm not, my feminist isn't coming out with saying that, but it's true in many various ways. And so the connection for me is easier for me to connect with a woman's point of view or a woman's thought or a woman's uh, technique or ideas. And I've learned a lot from people online primarily, but going back to the days of toting around my Silver Ravenwolf books, I learned a lot from authors such as her. Uh, and Lori Cabot was a big one, who's the Witch of Salem. She's in her 80s now. She was the first author that I read, actually, which was the book The Power of the Witch. And then my second book was Starhawk, who's still alive, and her book was called The Spiral Dance. And Lori Cabot is not Wiccan. She speaks about witchcraft in general. Starhawk is a little bit Wicca, but she doesn't state it primarily. But I'm not Wiccan anymore because my magical taste, my preference has changed or evolved over time. And so, however you're introduced into something, you'll look back on it and be like, wow, you know, you could be introduced through it from a friend, family member. Uh, of course, now you could be introduced to it by stumbling upon a YouTube video, uh, going into a chat group on Facebook or whatever it is. There's so much sharing now and so much acceptance than there was 30 years ago because it seems like 30 years ago you were lucky to meet somebody like that, or uh, it was a magical moment when you attracted that type of person that was magical just like you, and their thoughts and ideas and what they believed in. And now you could just go out, find a group or a chat or a YouTube channel and join that community. So it's way easier now than it was, say, uh, way back then, because of the access, of course, of the internet. And because of the evolution of Brookie from the Past with the Magic Happens bumper sticker, uh, I appreciate that girl now because she didn't sway from who she was. I stayed true to myself, which was hard to do over the years, especially with, um, societal pressures or straying away from, you know, that path or people in general that maybe you lost connection with. And it's very easy to do. So, the importance of community, and that's why I like Mystic Village so much, and so many people comment on Mystic Village itself, is the sense of community and the intimacy and the privacy of it, and how we all are kind and respectful and support each other. And it's a small group of us, but it's been like that for the last couple of years. And I credit Mystic Village to helping me in so many ways in guiding me uh, out of some tough situations the last couple of years, because Mystic Village has been so supportive of me emotionally and so supportive of me mentally. Um, I don't think Mystic Village really knows that. And I've talked about that, but Many times when I would go on and do a live chat, I was feeling very down, or I was feeling really bummed out, or I was feeling very trapped in my circumstances, or I was depressed. And the connection and interaction with other people and becoming friends has helped me in so many ways. And that's really important because on this spiritual path or spiritual journey, it's okay to be a solitary practitioner or to work on your own or to work alone, but it's so important to have a community because it's empowering to the individual. And so when I was tooting around in my red Camaro with my Magic Happens, I think in a sense I was looking for a community. I was looking for that. I was wanting to meet like-minded individuals, so I was putting it out there, so to speak, with a bumper sticker, you know. I was putting it out there. And when you put it out there or you send it out to the universe will respond. And so many, many, many years later, Mystic Village came about, and I finally felt like I had a community of like-minded uh, individuals, and it's just been great. So I thank Mystic Village. I thank you. And Mystic Village was coined by the people. It was not coined by me at all. Uh, Even the ones that uh, were in the beginning stages of Diary of a Mystic and coming in when I was doing chats don't come around and chat anymore, but they're part of that as well. So I thank them as well. So the people we meet along our magical journey, the practices we get into, the practices we stray away from, the practices we learn that are new, our evolution of divination evolves, our evolution of the tarot itself evolves, and you will start to notice that you will change. There's a progression. I don't read the same way that I did 10 years ago. My reading style has changed. My spiritual practices have changed. And you'll also start to notice, especially if you have some type of faith, belief, uh, daily spiritual practice, or even your own spiritual evolution, things in your life will start to fall away, and things in your life will start to accelerate, and things in your life will change. I've witnessed this where certain people in my life are now gone. Uh, Certain things in my life have rapidly accelerated, and things in my life have also remained the same, but my own journey, and you may feel this way, is never ending. It just doesn't stop. It keeps going. It's ever changing. And it will never stop changing. And so I think there's a lot of fear that people have that's primarily based on Christian theology or Christian viewpoints in terms of fear of doing tarot, doing divination, doing spell work, doing any type of spiritual practice that is not based in Christian ideology or a Christian viewpoint. And there's a lot of fear behind that. I have comments that are left on my videos. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. This is the work of the devil. You're evil. You know, even numerology is evil. I mean, just all sorts of crazy viewpoints. And this fear, I feel sorry for people like this because the fear is blocking them and it's inhibiting them from so many things. And so there's a lot of fear that comes with uh, primarily what people perceive you doing. Okay. My belief system has changed since 20 years ago. And my belief system is primarily private. I don't really go around sharing who I pray to, what I believe in, yada, 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 because it's very private to me. I will share some things, but it's very personal and it's very private. And also, of course, tarot readers, not all tarot readers are the same, and not all tarot readers also are witches or have a magical belief system or tradition. Um, it doesn't mean that every tarot reader is a witch, and not every witch is a tarot reader, or vice versa. So I feel that it's important going back to, you know, the past Brookie who drove the red Camaro with the Magic Happens bumper sticker. Back then, I was very lost with myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know. I was searching for something. I was searching for myself. And this was when I was in my, 20, 21, 22. In my 20s, I was searching for something. And the tools of the tarot, the spiritual practices that I did, helped me find the Brooke that I am today. No question. Totally guided me to where I am today. Totally. And that's something that I'm very, very grateful for. And whether or not um, that has been helpful to you, I hope that it has been, because no matter where you are on your journey right now, 5, 10 years from now, it could be completely different. It will change. Uh, you may go into a different direction. You may be where you are now, which is fine. So, another thing that I wanted to speak about, um, because when I started Diary of a Mystic 2 years ago, I wanted to go into the direction of doing true crime readings and paranormal stuff and talk about more metaphysical stuff and yada, yada, yada. Because when I was doing general readings on my other channel, Nightbird, which is my business name, Nightbird Enchanted now, I was doing general readings for all 12 signs, and I was doing monthly readings, weekly readings. I was doing sometimes daily readings. I was doing full moon readings. I was doing yearly readings. I was doing 3 months ahead readings. I was just doing all of it. Uh, and that was almost 7 years ago. And so the evolution of YouTube tarot readers has quadrupled in size. There are readers that I see now that I've never heard of. There are readers that are the OGs. You know, the OGs are still on there from 7 years ago, and there's some people that aren't on there anymore from 7 years ago. There's new YouTubers that have surpassed the subscriber count of the ones that were on there 7 years ago. And so I was starting to notice a trend with tarot readers on YouTube, and the trend has become it's and it turned me off, and I'll tell you why. I noticed a trend with views, subscriber counts, yada, 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 was primarily based upon love readings and will the ex return and and people checking in on their tarot reading to see about their love life. I wasn't doing a lot of love readings, but I was getting a lot of requests, primarily for love readings when I first started. That's all I got. And primarily, I was getting a lot of reading requests 7 years ago for third party affairs. Like the person would be having an affair with a married man. They want to know when he's going to leave the wife for them. So I'm doing like these third party affair readings. And it started to turn me off. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to tap into that energy. I didn't want to be a part of it. I didn't want to tap into it. But I was getting a lot of requests for that. And so the last 7 years, I've noticed, and my channel didn't grow. And it didn't grow for many reasons, but it didn't grow because I wasn't putting out the content. And I also wasn't putting out what the people wanted. And it started to turn me off because I've seen so many readers reading about, and they'll put the byline, Virgo, the ex is returning, they miss you, they're so sorry. 7 years ago, you didn't see stuff like that. It just would say Virgo, April, 2014. It didn't have all this other stuff in it. And so I call them heartbreak readers. Primarily, they're doing readings for the general public, and then they'll have a link to a Vimeo where you pay for an extended reading, and they don't do personal readings anymore at all because they're making primarily all their money from YouTube. And so I'm like, why would you not do personal readings? I would want to know the I would want to know if a reader's saying what they're saying and if they're really good at it, why don't they offer private readings? These are general readings. They could apply to thousands, hundreds of different people. And so over time, I just felt pressured. I felt pressured to maybe put out the content that other people were doing to increase viewership or tailoring my readings different. And I just felt very pressured. But it was pressure I put upon myself. It wasn't outside pressure. And so I got turned off by that. And so this heartbreak tarot reading community, which is huge. And when I started in 2014, there was maybe 100. I'm not kidding. Maybe 100, if that, of readers. And everybody supported each other because it was so small that everybody knew of each other's channel. Now it's thousands, and there's new ones all the time. You don't know. I don't know half of who's out there. I see new people all the time. Granted, I'm not saying they're not gifted. Many of them are very gifted, and I'll watch, a Pisces reading. I'm like, oh my God, they're dead on. And I do have some favorites that I've discovered. But personally, for me as a reader, I got turned off by putting out these readings, these general readings for 12 astrological signs, because of course people are tuning in because something's wrong in their life, something's wrong in their love life, something's wrong in their job, something's wrong in the family. They're tuning in because they want an answer. They want to see, God, are things going to get better? Is Patrick going to return to me this month? I mean, but it just turned me off personally. So I stopped doing them. I stopped doing them altogether. I still have that channel up because I use that channel for my private readings, but I just stopped doing them. I even thought about taking that channel down, but I have a lot of things up there uh, that I still like. So it just started to turn me off. And it also started to turn me off because it felt like to me the tarot was being abused. The reader will lay out 30 cards and be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, look, They're coming back. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm looking at the cards they're laying down. I'm like, where in the hell do you see this? You know, and it just started to turn me off. So the evolution of the tarot, especially with YouTube, has really changed the landscape of the tarot in general. I mean, radically. It's amazing. And so back to the day, when I was tooting around in my red Camaro with the Magic Happens bumper sticker, and I had my tarot cards in my purple magical bag, and I primarily was reading for myself because I wanted to know if the ex was going to return when I was 20 years old. Um, you know, I just feel that connection still to those days and the earliest beginnings of the tarot, of my magical self, and it still exists to this day. And so anything that's precious can be uh, anything that you believe in, or anything that perhaps that you do, others can exploit it, or others can take it and totally ruin it. And I just feel like, and I'm not talking about true crime tarot readers at all. I'm talking about primarily general tarot readers that primarily do love readings, have really exploited the use of the tarot, really exploited it. Um, just totally. And that to me has been a big turnoff for me. There's so many ways that you can read the tarot, and when I see somebody throwing down the Three of Swords and the Moon card and they're telling me, oh yeah, he misses you, he loves you, he's coming back, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So that's what I'm talking about. Just really turned me off. Um, and the landscape is gonna eventually change with that. I feel that the true crime tarot readers, um, I hope that community itself grows. I've kind of gotten away from the true crime readings uh, because my energy really gets drained if I do true crime sometimes. I've noticed that. It can be very draining, it can be very depressing, it takes a lot of your energy, and I was pulling away from that. Uh, and I was also focusing on the other things. But if the tarot itself can be a helpful tool, okay, and not be abused and not be exploited, but if it can actually be a helpful tool for someone, whether it's a client, whether it's a victim of a crime, whether it's to help a family with a missing persons case, whatever it is, okay, that in itself, if it can give an insight or a psychic insight into a situation on a metaphysical, esoteric level that the mind can perceive, that people logically can't perceive, is a blessing and is a beautiful gift, I think, from God. Okay? And if that can be something that can help other people, so be it. So be it. And so magic does happen. The discovery of many things will come along the way. And in the next podcast, I want to talk about how, when we're divining or doing divination, especially working with tools of divination, how it opens up the access to the spirit world, and how it opens up a access to spirit guides, to spiritual helpers, to a spiritual team, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope it wasn't all over the place. I don't have a script. I'm just talking. One Bad Tarot Reader podcast. Diaz, number 10. I can't believe it. Thank you to those that like to listen to this podcast. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking out the time to listen. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm like doing the dishes or doing other things, um, cooking or whatnot. So everybody out there, stay safe, stay healthy, stay blessed, and take care. And I'll speak to you soon.